Here's the thing where I am pro Van, because you're on the defensive side, you can't push your guy in front of you, so you're going to give the offense at least 800 pounds or more men to push men in front of them, and on the defensive side, you can't do that.
Just do it
So
the
if you're
Bucks
good,
did. Just get the dude from the Gators and put Vita Vea right there.
you can, but that's not going to stop the tush push. Those guys practice it; they're so low. But if you're going to leave it and you're going to allow uh, a quarterback that squats 600-700 pounds, but you're going to allow other men to get underneath him and push forward, then allow the defense to do it because they don't allow them to do it. I don't think a runner should be able to be aided that way. You're at that point you're a running back.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Beard Zone Sports Talk. My name is David, and I got Carlos with me tonight. And Carlos, it is time now, sir. We are finally at our favorite part of the offseason. It is the way too early predictions. And we're going to go ahead and start with the NFC East because why not start with the division that has the Super Bowl champs in it, the Philadelphia Eagles? So we're going to go ahead, break down each one of these teams' schedules, kind of predict their records, and kind of give our take on what we should be expecting from these teams. Now, these are our personal opinions, so don't come at us if you are fans of this said team. But definitely continue to leave those comments, negative or positive. It's still engagement, and we love it. But before we get into all of that, you know the drill. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, because that is the best way to continue to support us. Carlos, let's go ahead and start off with the team that everyone seems to love to talk about every offseason, every midseason, every end of season. It's always their year, and that is none other than the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys have Brian Schottenheimer as the first-year head coach there in Dallas. Now, he has been the offensive coordinator for the past couple of years, so he definitely isn't a new face in the organization. But looks like, I mean, hey, we're in OTAs now, right? I mean, like we have like the early OTAs going on right now, the voluntary OTAs. And apparently, according to, some of the sources on the inside of the Dallas building, I don't know how much Jerry Jones has paid them off, but seems to be bringing a lot of energy. Seems to be, kind of a new energy there in Dallas. So who knows what they're going to, be. This team, it's so hard because at the end of the day, they seem to always do pretty decent in the regular season. They make it somehow to the playoffs, but then it's when in the playoffs they always kind of falter. So how do you see the Dallas Cowboys season going this year?
I mean, you're right. Like who really knows? They got it's OTAs. You have the rookies in there. Everything looks good because there's nothing going on, but quarterbacks look good. Everybody looks good because there's nobody actually on the field guarding them. There's no pressure right now, but they've got a lot of, that O line is still. It's got two rookies on it. They lose Zach Martin. He's finally calling it quits, and having Guyton and Beatty as rookies, you never know what you're going to get. And I wasn't a huge fan of Guyton coming out when they made that as their first round pick. Wasn't a big fan of it. The BD pick is a good one. You just don't know, is that O line good enough to protect Dak Prescott? I mean, they've got a lot of toys now. With Pickens, CD, they got Javonte Williams. If he stays healthy, good running back. And then they got the running back Blue from Texas, who I think is a great pick for them. This guy can.
I think it honestly was one of the steals of the draft where they got him. I think he's going to be really good. I think he'll be able to help with that run game because, I mean, they relied on, bringing back Ezekiel Elliott last year. Like, they were just desperate for anybody and everybody. I mean, it's the Dallas Cowboys. At the end of the day, I don't trust Dak. And I don't want to be, the Dak hater, but it's just consistently like he always gets you to the playoffs. Like, and that's good, I guess, but you're paying this guy a lot of money. You're paying this guy top dollar, right? And he just never has gotten you to that next level. It seems like that they're always wild card or divisional round exits. Um, and you just don't know what's going to happen. Now I do know that they had some injuries on the defensive side of the ball of things last year, which definitely hurt them in their secondary. So they should be healthy, again this year. But I don't ever think it was really their defense that has been the problem. It's always been the offense. It's always been what Dak Prescott are we going to get this week? And their schedule's pretty favorable. I mean, I was looking at it. Their schedule is pretty favorable. I'll go ahead and I'll say I have them going 9-8. Um, is that going to be enough to get a wild card spot? I don't know. The NFC is starting to kind of strengthen as we've, gone over the last couple of years. AFC is still kind of king. I mean, you have to be like 13-4 to get a wild card spot in the AFC, it seems like. But it's a tough division outside of the Giants, because the Giants are just kind of a big question mark. But you have the Washington Commanders, NFC championship team last year, surprise team with rookie Jaden Daniels. Obviously, you had the Philadelphia Eagles, which, yes, they won the Super Bowl last year, but let's not forget 2 years ago, they were in the Super Bowl, and gave the Chiefs a good fight then. Nick Sirianni somehow is actually a really good head coach. None of us saw that coming, with his opening day press conference, but he just signed an extension this offseason. I have the Dallas Cowboys going 9-8. I don't want to write them off because I think that they are overall a good team. Like you said, that they have good weapons. I just don't know their identity, and you don't know what Brian Schottenheimer is going to look like ultimately when it comes down to, kickoffs in September.
Yeah, they get a little bit tougher to predict the record because last year Diggs and Bland missed 16 games combined, so they can't do it again. Like the defense,
No.
when healthy, is a top 10, 11 defense with Parsons there. They drafted very well. They got Donovan out of Boston College. Should give them a little bit more help. And as long as Parsons coming off the edge, the back end of this doesn't have to be. They're good. They are good, so it makes it even better. I just don't know. Like you said, there's what's that identity with the offense with Pickens is that attitude, and him and CD. There should be enough footballs to go around for everybody. And you got Jake Ferguson too, so the offensive side of the ball, weapons wise, is really good. And then you have Tolbert that's just sitting there as the third string, and you're just that guy can explode at any moment. So there's the question marks, but I guess we could say that just about any team if they can stay healthy. So, man, I got them at 10-7. I like you say, Dak regular season is great. He's going to put up stats. He's going to go over 4,000 yards, over 30 touchdowns. And now I feel like he's got a running game with Javonte Williams and Blue coming out, being the rookie. They give him a good 1-2 punch. Blue is fast, and Williams is a beast, man. He just, he got hurt in Denver. But when he was at college at North Carolina, the guy could run. Like, he is a strong guy. So it's just the Cowboys. Like you said, they could go 15-2 and get ousted in their first playoff game, and badly, like the Packers did to them. So it's going to be, let's see what the new coach does. Is Jerry going to let off a little bit? Probably not, but let's see what, we won't know until he gets on the field. I'm more curious to see what Pickens does. How does him and CD, how does those two, CD is a top tier guy for sure. And how do you bring those two egos together, and how do they mesh? And I don't want to call them prima donnas, but they're CD wants the ball all the time. The guy gets 160 targets a year, 110 plus catches, and Pickens wants the ball. And they're both great receivers, so it's going to be interesting. But I think the guy who can thrive out of this is Jake Ferguson. With those two guys on the outside, they're going to have a lot of attention, and Ferguson can have a really good year.
I was just thinking that about Jake Ferguson, because you're going to have to keep your eye on both CD and Pickens. And really, let's not forget, they like to use Tolbert in that slot. And that guy is explosive. I mean, you do not want to forget about him on the field. So Jake Ferguson really might have a pretty decent year. Not that he hasn't had bad years in the
Yeah,
past, but this year really might be something. But then again, Carlos, I'm pretty sure last year when we did our way too early predictions, we were talking about Dak and CD might be going off last year due to them being due for a contract, and they kind of disappointed overall. So um, who's to say? You never know what you're going to get from the Dallas Cowboys. Carlos, I just want to have a quick disclosure, really quick, for some of our new listeners. I'm looking at us talking about the Dallas Cowboys. I'm rocking a Bucks creamsicle. You're rocking a Miami Dolphins, with the two banners behind you. We are repping our team for sure. But this is the Beard Zone Sports Talk. Welcome. Thank you for listening. And we talk about everything NFL here. Okay. So we do our research. We're not we're diehard football fans, but we always want to represent our team. So just wanted to get that PSA out there. Carlos, let's go ahead and move on to. I was gonna leave them for last, but you know what? I want to talk about this team because this is the team that is honestly the threat in the NFL right now. How this team has built a championship team over the past, couple of years with the help of their GM Howie Roseman. I mean, this guy, they hit on every draft, and the fact that they continue to get such talented players in the NFL in the draft, they don't really make any huge trades, and I feel like they're really smart with their offseason signings. That's the Philadelphia Eagles, man. They're coming off a huge Super Bowl win over the Kansas City Chiefs. Nick Sirianni, like I stated earlier, did sign an extension this offseason. They have a great young defense that is just filled with talent. And honestly, the same with the offense, filled with home run ability, too. And we saw a lot of that with Saquon Barkley last year. This is a team that is going to be a threat for, I think, quite a while in the NFC with all of the young talent here in Philadelphia. Carlos, how do you like the Eagles this year?
their coach has the most punchable face I've ever seen. Every time I see it, I just want to punch it. Um, they're gonna be good, man. They're young on defense, and they're at that point where they got to ride this out because there's some massive contracts coming down the road for them that they're not going to be able to keep everybody. They did a great job of keeping Zach Braun on another year. He was
Yes,
so good for them last year.
great signing.
And then the idiots in the draft let Jihad Campbell, but it was such a strong draft, so I take that back. The draft
It
was so
was.
strong, but they get John Campbell that's going to fill in for this guy who's really good. Man, you name it. I mean, they got Cooper DeJean. How he got to the second round, I still don't know. They got Williams, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith, and N'Kobe Dean was hurt last year. So they've got you have the first or second best O line, and then you have the first or second best defense. Is a recipe for another Super Bowl run. I mean, what I don't know. And they got Barkley. We haven't even got to the offensive side of the ball. The defensive side of the ball is loaded. They play with that Philadelphia spirit, man. They're nasty, mean. They get after it. Yeah, and we like I said that we haven't even moved to the offensive side of the ball. Like
Yeah.
so, I mean, it's a really well built football team, and they've got a couple more years of this before. I think they got to let loose with some guys, but man, ride it while you can. Uh, they got to be one of the top four favorites, five favorites to win this thing again. I think it all comes down for them though is Jalen Hurts. He's got such a
Yeah.
good team around him. Like, what Hurts? We're going to get Hurts from 2 years ago. We're going to get the one from last year. Which guy's going to show up? They did get a nice, Tush pushes back for one more year. So they got that, back in the
Which,
arsenal as well.
can we talk about that? I don't. I really don't like the whole wanting to ban that. If you can't stop it, you can't stop it.
But
I'm
here,
pro
here,
no
here's the
banning.
thing. Here's the thing where I am pro ban, because you're on the defensive side. You can't push your guy in front of you, so you're going to give the offense at least 800 pounds of more men to push men in front of them, and on the defensive side, you can't do that.
Just do it
So
the
if you're
Bucks
good,
did. Just get the dude from the Gators and put Vita Vea right there.
you can, but that's not going to stop the tush push. Those guys practice it; they're so low. But if you're going to leave it and you're going to allow uh, a quarterback that squats 600-700 pounds, but you're going to allow other men to get underneath him and push forward, then allow the defense to do it, because they don't allow them to do it. I don't think a runner should be able to be aided that way. You're at that point you're a running back, but that's the only reason
Yeah,
I
but
don't
if
like
he's
it.
running down the field, your offensive lineman will run down the field and help push you past the first down or the over the goal line. I mean, we
It
see it with ball runners. So
it
what's
is,
really the difference other than and I mean, you
and
know
I'm
it's
not I'm
coming.
not a fan of that either. I'm not a fan of a guy being stood up at a 350-pounder running well as fast as he can. It's not fast, but he hits that pile. Nothing. I mean, yeah, the good comes out. They all fall forward. Sometimes people get hurt. Sometimes they don't. But I'm not even for that. Give the defense the advantage, same as the offense, or there is a way to stop it. I have played against an offense like this. You put a helmet on an arm and you break it. It will stop at some point. Or you're going to take your helmet
Jeez,
and
that's
stick it on the
dirty.
back of their helmet and you're going to drive it into the ground. So at some point, you're either going to hurt somebody's arm or you're going to hurt somebody's neck. Like the arm will heal, the neck will heal at some point, but it's going to be a pain. I just don't like the disadvantage that the defense are. They're already at a disadvantage. They don't even know the snap count, and half of the time the centers move the ball up for it. But allow them to push back. And the reason that defense can't do it, because remember the field goal, they didn't allow defensive players to push forward.
To do the run start, yeah.
Right. So bring that back. Make it even. Make it a big bunch of sumo guys in there, and let them do it. But you got to make it even. And I just, granted, every team can do it, but
Well,
at
and
least
that's the
make it
other
even.
thing. It's not like it's a Philadelphia Eagle only. Everyone is able to do it, and that's where I come in, where I'm like, it's not just Philly that can do this. Everyone has the opportunity to do this. It's just that Philly has honestly the secret recipe to have a very high success rate with it because
Yeah.
of the strength of, well, first their offensive line is incredible. Then you do have a quarterback that can squat 600, and then let's not forget Saquon Barkley back there now helping push the pile. So I can understand where you're coming from, where you're saying make it a little bit fair. But I want to touch base on something that you just said, how you don't like it when 350-pound linemen come running down the field to help push the pile on. Well, I mean, like, if you think about it, Carlos, it's a single person running with the ball and multiple guys can tackle him. So if you don't want any help from the offensive line, then okay, then only one guy can
It
tackle this guy
it's
then.
not that. It's when momentum is stopped. So they stop the momentum, and then this guy comes running in. He just starts pushing again. Like uh, I
Well, then
get it.
blame the refs at that point. Blow it dead.
Are you kidding? They would kill the rest if they were like, oh, he stopped for a second, and then they blow the whistle. It's part of the game. I get it. Just make that tush push part fair for the defense. Allow them to push their linemen forward. That's all. Hey, you're gonna do
Oh
it.
my
Let them
gosh.
do it. Let the defense do it, and then I think it lasts for a year. I think the injuries pile up because right now the only thing that tush push does is a 4-point stance, and you just fire off and crawl. If you watch them, the offensive linemen literally put their head on the ground and they start to like crawl. Meanwhile, you got somebody pushing you. So it's allow it the other way. Like, hey, what the heck, man? It's
And
football.
for another argument, I don't think it's just the tush push, right? I think that they just kind of have a formula that they just continue to use. No one was complaining, at least from, I mean, maybe you can chirp in as a, Miami fan because you had to face them, for 20 years, twice a year. But I don't ever remember someone trying to ban the Tom Brady sneak, and he had an extremely high success rate with
Yeah, but he
it.
didn't have
But
anybody
he had
push.
but he had a recipe. He had a
he
recipe,
did.
and that's exactly what the
Hey,
Philadelphia
keep it.
Eagles have.
They do. They found a loophole. And the problem is nobody will stop it. I'm just saying, if you're going to allow the offense to push another guy, the college did it a few years ago. It was the Reggie Bush rule that you could not aid somebody over the goal line. You could aid them anywhere else on the field, but you could not take a running back and push him over the goal line. He had to do it on his own. I'm okay with the tush push, but I take it away from the goal line then. You can't. I like that rule that you cannot aid the runner and over the goal line. Let him have it for the rest of the way, but he can't. He just can't score a touchdown with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, I think it's been on the. I think it's been up for vote now the past couple of years to ban, and it's still continued to pass. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how it works. What's funny is that I'm pretty sure Tampa voted to ban it, and I'm like, Tampa, you're the only team that stopped it. So why are you trying to ban
Yeah,
it?
but if you watch how they stopped it, and I think Kenny Britt was the one that got on the goal line. He's grabbing the helmet to pull him back. So, I mean, yeah, but that could be an easy flag.
It could
So,
be.
like,
It
and
could
he
be.
jumps over the pile and he grabs the helmet underneath here and he's pulling it. And Hurts has
Yeah.
wherever the head goes, the body goes.
Oh, for
Nothing can
sure.
change that.
For
So
sure. So
it literally took him. I guess it's not technically a face mask, but he was definitely under the helmet.
yeah, there was it. It was a face mask. I
Yeah,
wasn't saying nothing though.
I'm okay with that. Allow the face mask.
I'm not saying
No
nothing.
holds bar when the tush push is coming. No holds bar. They can dive over, grab
Jailhouse
face
rules.
mask,
Tush push.
give them
Just
the old twist. Hey, I mean, they just have to make it fair for the defense. Like, come on now.
I can understand.
Like, don't ban it. But maybe, like I said, I'm a big fan of where we can't hit a runner over the goal line. Like, come on, these are big boys. They get paid a lot of millions of dollars.
Yeah,
So let them earn it.
fair enough. Well, where do you have the Philadelphia Eagles being at the end of the season, Carlos? I think we all have them making it to the playoffs, but how well do you see them going through the regular season? They're another team that's actually kind of hard to predict, kind of like the Dallas Cowboys, because they're pretty inconsistent during the regular season, but when they get into the playoffs over the past couple of years, they do really well. So but I had them at 12-5. I think that that's pretty fair. They could easily be 13-4. I don't know if they can go higher than that. It's one of those things. Always give and take with our early predictions, a game or two. But I had them at 12-5.
Are you learning from last year? So no 16-1s.
I'm not, dude. The Jets are going 0-17. I'm just going to continue to just
I was
ride that
waiting for
one
like a
out.
14-3, something like that.
No.
Yeah,
I'm very conservative this year.
yeah. I mean, barring any major injury, this should be a team that could win 12 to 14 games. I guess if I take the injury piece out, I'm going to put them at. I think I'm going to go with you a 12-5, and you know what? I'm going 13-4 with them. Just barring no major injury. If Hurts goes down, they're in trouble.
Obviously.
They brought back Dallas Goedert, which was big for them. They can lose Shaquan. They got AJ Dillon, but Dillon was, he's just a big power guy. Big quads, but he really didn't kill it at Green Bay. Was never able to take that lead role. And even when he had it, when Jones went down, it wasn't anything extremely impressive. So he's just more of a scary figure type of guy. But A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, all 132 pounds of him. Jahan Dotson on the outside, they've got a good offense. So, if they stay healthy, we might see them in the big game again.
Hey, don't worry, Eagles fans. If Jalen Hurts go down, you got Kyle McCord now.
Yeah.
From Syracuse. Anyway, speaking of rookie quarterbacks, let's go to a team that had a rookie quarterback last year and was the offensive Rookie of the Year. And for all of you Bears fans out there that lit us up in the comment section because we said that Caleb Williams was not the pick to choose at number one and that you should go Jaden Daniels, suck it, Bears. It sucks to suck. Jaden Daniels is clearly better than Caleb Williams. I like this kid, man. Here's my only hesitancy this year. We saw success with the rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback a few years ago in Houston with the Texans. With CJ Stroud and D'Amico Ryans a couple of years back, they had great success. They made it into the playoffs. CJ Stroud, face of the franchise, great quarterback. Then they come into their next year, their second season together, and it wasn't all fairy tales and, happy endings as we saw last year. That is my only concern with this Jaden Daniels, Dan Quinn. I like Dan Quinn. I think he's a great head coach. I think that this team is definitely heading in the right direction. Washington Commanders are at a turning point right now. They got new ownership, they got new staff, they got new leadership, and now they have a new quarterback who can obviously take them to distance because seriously, no one saw them going into Detroit last year and beating the Lions in the divisional round, and they did. But where do you have them? I mean, they struggled in the run game last year. That was kind of their biggest weakness on defense. I feel like
Yeah.
that they did fill some holes this offseason and in the draft. But how do you like the Washington Commanders?
Yeah, Daniels is great. Will he fall victim to the sophomore slump? We got a few guys. It'd be interesting. One or two has to fall into the sophomore slump. I don't think it's him. He's got Scary Terry. He's got Noah Brown. They got Debo now. I
Yeah.
mean, and Robinson and Eckler weren't very stellar in a sense of, Eckler ended up playing more than I thought he would, and Brian Robinson didn't even didn't hit 1,000 yards, and he's supposed to be their stud. And Eckler is more of a pass catcher now than anything. I mean, he only had a little over 300 yards rushing, and Robinson right at 800. But my still concern is their O line. I think it's still a bottom quarter. I don't like it. I like they get the massive upgrade with Larry Tunsil. The problem is the rest. It's not that upgrade's going to tick them up and give them that left tackle that they've been looking for. But I still don't think it's enough when you're going against the Cowboys and the Eagles. And honestly, the Giants. That I don't know if they're ready to handle. These are three top defensive lines players.
Yeah.
Like these lines are really good.
They can eat.
Yeah, and they were really good against the pass last year. There's only two other teams that allowed less yards than they did. But the front end, I think got worse, in my opinion. Wagner's getting old. He's 35. They lose Jonathan Allen. They bring in Kinlaw, who's not as good as Allen. So I don't know how that's going to play when you're going against teams that they want to run the ball. And I don't know. I know they did really well last year. I don't know where Debo fits into this. Like, are they bringing him in? They're going to use him like 49ers Debo early? Are we looking at wide receiver Debo? Like, I don't know what they're going to do with him. So
I wasn't too impressed with the last couple of years in San Francisco with Debo. I'm really surprised that Brandon Ayuk didn't end up over there with all the rumors that were, circling around his name with the Washington Commanders because of their chemistry back in Arizona State when Jane Daniels was at ASU with Brandon Ayuk in their college days before he went to LSU. The biggest thing with this team, though, is, I mean, you said it, their offensive line. Their offensive line definitely needs to bolster up. I mean, dude, I would go out and I would get Sheriff. He's still available. I would sign him. He's an older guy, but the guy is solid, stays healthy, reliable. Go ahead and try and plug him into that offensive line and try and boost it up a little bit because you really do have a good thing going. And the last thing you want to do is take this team to the NFC Championship last year, go on this amazing run, and then kind of fall back to mediocrity. I mean, this team, I feel like, is primed to really take a huge jump forward and continue to, move in that direction if they play it right. And I'm afraid because a lot of these guys, a lot of these key pieces in this team, Bobby Wagner, Zach Ertz, you have a couple other guys on, Debo Samuel. I mean, we don't know what Debo is going to be, so I don't want to say he's a key piece. But I mean, you have other players that are key to this team's success right now that are really on their last 1 or 2 years remaining, maybe 3. So you don't want to fall back into this mediocrity and just kind of fall back into, the middle of the pack and kind of become overlooked, because I really think that Washington can really turn it up a gear if they stay on this right path. It's all going to come down to Jane Daniels, though. It always comes down to the quarterback. The quarterback play is going to be the determining factor on the success of your franchise. Period. End of discussion. I mean, even with the success of Saquon Barkley last year that we saw with the Philadelphia Eagles, yes, was he a major role? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I'm thinking Commanders. Jalen Hurts, that guy, I mean, in the Super Bowl, played his absolute best game of his career, in my opinion. And he won that game. He helped win that game. Saquon was actually kind of obsolete
Yeah.
in the Super Bowl. So it's always through the quarterback. You can have great pieces around you, but it's always through the quarterback. Good news for the Commanders fans. I think Jane Daniels is the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, Kingsbury's going to have, he's got a, I mean, they get a whole off season now.
Yeah.
He did tailor the offense around Daniels, so I'm sure there'll be some tweaks in there to protect him a little bit. He's running. I just don't know. Is he like our next Lamar Jackson? Lamar's through the years, he's got every tool to throw the ball very well, but Lamar's really never. I mean, that's my worry. I don't know if Lamar's ever going to win a Super Bowl. Like I've said it before, I just don't think he's a guy that is going to win a Super Bowl. They're either going to the defense is beefed up and not enough of the offense. I mean, you got Zach Ertz getting old, Wagner's getting old, Marshawn Lattimore's getting old. They got a lot of old on that team, and I just don't know if the defense is going to be good enough to. I'm gonna put them at 10-7. I don't know if they're going to be a playoff team. I don't have enough confidence in the front, the trenches. I mean, yeah, you said it's quarterback. We look at these Super Bowl teams, man. The trenches are strong, and
The
there's
trenches wins.
They don't have a pass rush. Like they don't have anybody that really gets after the quarterbacks. Not Colin Farrell. He's not. That guy's was a bust with the Raiders. So no pressure on the quarterback is a recipe for disaster. And if you can't stop the run, it's another recipe for disaster.
Yeah. Yeah, I have them going 9-8. I kind of have them in Dallas, kind of right there at the 9-8 mark. One of them will probably make it into the playoffs with my prediction. I don't know if both of them are going to make it in. Just because, like I said before, man, the NFC, we're starting to see. We saw 2 15-2 teams and one 15-2 team in the wild card last year, and the other one was in first place in the NFC. So it's really one of those things where it's completely up in the air. And again, these things, give or take, this is our way too early prediction. So I mean, barring any injuries, barring any major trades or anything else like that, I'm always going to put that disclosure out there because I'll never live down my prediction of the Jets last year. So if you want a good comedy show, go back and watch me hype up the Jets last season because boy was I wrong.
Oh man.
Let's move on to the final team here in the NFC East, and this is the team that I think I'm really worried about. if you're a New York Giants fan, hey, at least the Knicks are doing well in the NBA because my goodness, I don't know. I don't know how this team is going to be. I like Brian Daboll. I really do. I think he's a good head coach. I love him. I love seeing his interviews with the quarterbacks. It kind of reminds me of like a John Gruden kind of feel, where he gets, fired up and everything. Is he John Gruden? Absolutely not. I'm just saying that it's just the kind of vibe that I get from him. He loves the quarterback position, though. He loves, seeing where his quarterback's mindset is, pre-snap and all that good jazz. They went out and they got Jackson Dart. I really like Jackson Dart. I've been high on this guy since the draft. I think he's going to be a pretty good quarterback in the NFL if he has an opportunity. Unfortunately, I don't know what kind of opportunity he's going to get here in New York, because this is my biggest worry with this team, Carlos. I don't know if Brian Daboll or even the GM, Joe Schoen, I don't know if they have a full year. I really don't, because a lot of us were surprised with them sticking around last year after the whole Saquon debacle. They ended up doing it. They didn't do very well. And, but hey, they're back. But I don't know if the ownership of the Giants are going to wait an entire next season to keep them. If things start looking bad early, you might see a head coaching change. You might see a GM get fired. I mean, it's just one of those things that might happen. And you want to talk about putting gasoline on fire and chaos? I mean, your quarterback room is already fire and chaos. You have Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, Jackson Dart. If there is a bet out there right now that all three of those quarterbacks are going to have a start this year, I would put money on it, because I just have a feeling that they don't know their direction. They want it. I'm sure Jackson Dart is their direction, but they want to sit him, right? Russell Wilson's a great quarterback to sit behind. Jameis Winston's definitely interesting.
Interesting is the only way to put it.
Yeah, but if Brian Daboll gets fired, who's to say the interim coach doesn't come in and says, "Dart, you're up," and to heck with Russell and Jameis. I don't know what this team is going to be. I have them going 4-13. They have one of the toughest schedules in the NFL too. There is not a lot of good games this year for them. So good luck, New York fans. But I do love their defense. Their defensive line on paper has got to be the best defensive line in the league, hands down. Right? Production, we'll see what this season holds. But on paper, hands down, best defensive line in my opinion.
Yeah, it really is going to be like the tale of the quarterback. Like, what Russ do we get? Do we get Seattle, like Super Bowl
Do we get
Russ?
2016 Seattle, like Russell? Or
I don't, but you know what they will get? It's an upgrade, because what they had last year wasn't good. There was no chance to win with those quarterbacks. And you have a guy who protects the ball. So I don't think Jackson Dart hits the field this year would really be beneficial. He just carries a clipboard all year. And Russ, it hopes that Russ he's able to manage and get the ball around. The problem, like I said, it's not going to be their defense. I mean, you've got Lawrence, Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, assuming he's not a bust. You got Thibodeau, who was a starter for them and a good one. He's on the bench. This is a rotation guy now on there. I mean, and they got other good pieces with they got Nunez, the old Bucks guy, Sanchez on there. They've got that defense, and they got Javon Holland. So they were able to sign a big free agent with Holland, get him in the back end. They should have never got rid of Xavier McKinney. It was a stupid move on their end. That defense is going to be – that defensive front will make the back end's job much easier, and the linebackers. It's going to make the linebackers better. Derek Brooks always said he would not have been the player without Warren Sapp. And he's not – these – they've got Bobby O'Keefe that came from Indy, who's good. The defense is going to keep them in ball games for sure, and it's going to take pressure off the back. But when you go to the offensive side of the ball, I don't know if there's enough weapons. I mean, Darius Slayton is supposed to have been good for I don't know how many years now. He's an okay receiver, probably.
They got Malik Neighbors.
Well, they got Neighbors.
He was great,
but he got hurt. He's not a. I don't want to say he's not tough, but he took some shots when they were forcing the ball. Who was it? Danny DeVito was quarterbacking.
Yeah.
Freaking nightmare. It was like Jameis with his eyes closed. And Tracy is a good. He had a really good year last year. The O line is still a little suspect. I mean, Andrew Thomas is their best O line. He only graded out as 64 last year, which is not good.
Now I will
So
say this to help the quarterbacks because there I feel like that there I mean everyone is going to assume that Russell Wilson is going to start. Jameis is going to be the backup kind of 1A to dart 1B. Their running back last year, he was a rookie, Tyrone Tracy Jr. He had a fantastic rookie season. I really liked him. They also drafted my favorite running back out of this year's draft, Scatabo. So I think he's going to be a good running back in that in that offense with Tyrone Tracy. It's going to be a good 1-2 punch. So they do have some help with the running game. Their offensive line, though, still kind of suspect. You were saying it earlier. The trenches of these NFL teams have got to be on point. If you are going to make any sort of a playoff push, if you're going to make any sort of a Super Bowl run, it starts in the trenches. Philadelphia Eagles over the past 3 to 4 years have built this team literally from the inside out. They started in the trenches and then they started adding pieces. With AJ Brown in the offseason, they drafted Devontae Smith. They ended up getting Jalen Hurts, and then they got Saquon last year. But it all started with that offensive line. And even when Jason Kelsey departed, dude, their center came right in and played a hell of a year last year. So New York's offensive line, I'm not too impressed with. It's going to be one of those things. And this is just a tough, again, I don't see Brian Daboll or the GM getting a full year. I really don't. I don't. I think by week 6 or 7, if they're not at least 500, I don't know if they make it.
I think they're very interesting to me. I don't have them. I don't think being as bad as you have them.
Adam
Just because I don't know if they're 4-13 in my book. Man, they just need one more piece on that offensive line. Here's another thing. I'm not sure if Scatterbo right now is third on the depth chart. It's
Yeah.
Tracy, Devon Singletary, and then him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think if he, I don't know if it's a plus or a minus if he ends up taking a bunch of snaps. Is it because Tracy went to a sophomore slump? He's not good because when you look at these two guys, it's almost the same guy. They're about the same. Tracy's a little bit taller. Scott was not a tall guy. He's just like a little bowling ball. But I don't. You like the guy. He's got a ton of grit. He gets after it. He's a game time player.
He's a football guy. He's a football guy.
My sights for him aren't as high as yours. I think his lack of attributes will catch up with him. Heart will take you so far, but you got to have in this era. It's a different era. And is the Giants going to try to play the running game in a pass happy era? I don't see it. But
you said the same. I'm almost positive you said the same quote where heart can only take you so far about Bucky Irving last year.
No, Bucky. I didn't say that about Bucky. Bucky just wasn't a line of Oregon running backs that sucked because they were fast. The Bucs are using Bucky Irving the way that every Oregon running back's used. Get him the ball out really quick in open space and run outside zones. Bucky is just the Bucs were smart enough to know, hey, we have Tristan Wirfs out here. We're going to run behind this guy. We're not going to run in the middle. We're going to go outside and we're going to throw the screen passes to him on here. I just don't know. Is Scatterbo the guy that I want? In college he did it, but we're talking the NFL. We're talking the elite of the elite. And I think some of that stuff, the speed is going to show up a little bit. But I mean, we'll see. The guy plays with extreme a lot of passion. You know he's going to bring it when he comes out. But going back a little bit here, I just don't know what that offense looks like. You have the head coaches calling the plays, is the OC calling the plays? If if the head coaches took over the offense, then why do you have an OC? Just get you a passing game coordinator, and because I feel like there's tension there, like who's actually running the offense. And I haven't liked their offense so far. They didn't address, I thought, the needs that they did. The rumor was they were trying to get out of three. They couldn't do it. I mean, it's great to have all that defensive talent on the line, but man, I don't know. You need a little bit. You need a little bit on the other side. You got to be able to block for Tracy Scatteroo. Like he's not going to run through a lot of stuff like he did in college. The last guy we saw do that fits his frame is Mike Allstott, but that was a different era. And I don't even know if Allstott can walk straight anymore. I'm pretty sure he's looking in the mirror all day. But
it's okay because I will watch his highlights.
Yes. But I don't think he's that guy. I don't think he's a Mike Allstott-ish guy. Allstott was just a different beast.
I don't think anybody can be Mike Allstott. No. I don't think he is. I just like the fact because now if Scatterbo were to go to a team and he needed to be the workhorse, yes, I would still like him, and I'm still rooting for him because he's just a football guy. He has that grittiness to him, and I like the guy, and as a person, and then he's an awesome football player as well. Especially, man, when ASU played Texas, dude, he had a hell of a game that game.
But anyway, he really did. he really did. Hopefully, we'll see. Hope the guy turns out great. I'm going to put him at 5-12. I think they're a top tier pick. And
I just 4-13.
So I know I have a little bit
better. One more game.
Look at their schedule. I'm like, holy crap, man! They've got whoever did this hates them. I mean,
hates Brian Daboll. No, they hate Brian Daboll.
Yeah, their out of conference games are
insane.
They're insane. Like, holy,
they're not easy. This is going to be a really rough year for the Giants. Yeah. But
there's still some free agents out there that are hanging around. You got Gabe Davis, Keenan Allen would be a great pickup for them. If they can get a couple.
I think Keenan Allen. I think both. Get them both. Why not?
Yeah.
Gabe Davis, Keenan Allen, both of them.
They'll take some very friendly contracts. I mean, they haven't signed. June 1st is right around the corner. Those would be one of those guys would be a big lift for them on the offensive side of the ball, especially a Keenan Allen that understands, can help Russ out a lot. Gabe, he's a burner.
June 1st is going to be a really interesting day for the NFL, I think. I think that a lot of players that have just been kind of sitting out there, hopefully we see Aaron Rodgers get signed. I'm so tired of hearing it. Just sign. If you're not going to sign, then don't sign. Doesn't matter to me.
He's still waiting on Minnesota. I think that's where his heart wants to go. It's indoor.
He truly wants to follow Brett Favre.
It's like
to the Jets, to the Minnesota Vikings.
Hey man, I think they got who they like. I get it, but Pittsburgh's not a bad. I don't think it's a bad landing spot. I mean, it's good defense. They're not going to ask you to go out and sling the ball 35 times a game, and you got an O-line that's going to protect you. Like,
yeah,
I don't get it.
Well, we'll see. Well, let us know down there in the comment section how wrong we are about your team. We love to hear, all of those comments. So, but do us a favor, follow us on all of our social medias. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I almost said Twitter and then X, but they're the same. And then we are also on TikTok. So we're going to be putting more content out there. We've been slacking. We've been sucking. It's okay, though. We're going to move forward. But follow us here on YouTube, especially hit that subscribe button. Share this with your family and friends. We're here every Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are going through our way too early predictions. So for the next 8 weeks, this is where we are going to be at. Next week, we're going to go ahead and go over to the west coast of the NFC and tackle the NFC West and do our predictions there. But Carlos, the clock has hit 0, sir. And so I think until next Friday, we're out of here.